your life in a completely different direction? Show of hands. Look at that. Let's give it up for the teachers, all right? It's such a noble profession. Such a noble profession to guide young minds and work them. Hold on, I'm going to have a sip. They got water, 100% chance of Rainn water bottles. That's cool. It's actually my urine.
I still want one.
Oh, yeah.
I just want one in the
So what happened? This was my dream, to become an actor. So after a couple of years of undergrad, I moved to New York City, and I wanted to make my dream come true. And this was the most important thing in my life. I moved to New York City. I wanted to be a bohemian and live the life of an artist. And what I quickly found when I moved to New York City was there was no room in New York City for being a Baha'i anymore. There was no room for religion, and there was no room for God. So I immediately, at age 20, moving to New York City, I became an atheist. I knew that would piss my parents off the worst, and I wanted to rebel against them, so I absolutely knew there was no God. When I thought about it, I was thinking about all the evil that religion was doing in the world. I was thinking about all the hypocrisy having to do with religion, it's a fairy tale, a superstitious fairy tale that old people need who are weak, that the strong people like Nietzsche and Albert Camus and the great thinkers, they didn't need a God to guide them. They could make their own way, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to be a bohemian and live that life in New York City. And that was part of it too, is like, I didn't want morality. That idea of morality, I didn't want that to be a limitation to me in the life that I was living. I didn't want to have to think about drugs and alcohol and sex. I wanted to be able to do all of those things without any impunity, guilt, or shame. And so part of it is, it all fostered together into me just rejecting that completely. So I entered in the bohemian lifestyle and immediately became extremely pretentious, just really annoying. I dyed my hair jet black out of a box of Clairol midnight black hair dye it's so toxic it has like an 800 number on the back that you can call in case some accidentally touches your skin. And I looked ridiculous because I forgot to dye my eyebrows, which were even like more gingery red at the time than they are now. So I looked like a total psycho killer. People stayed away. I mean, they really stayed away. People would be like, they did those things, And we were very pretentious because art became the center of my life. We thought that we could change the world through theater, that we could do the right plays and we could open people's hearts in new ways and they'd see the world in new ways. How you doing? Good? Good looking bunch down there. Yeah, a lot better looking than Fort Hays State University. Right, yeah, Jayhawks. So,
yes.
Good night, everybody. We thought that I was talking about the band, the Jayhawks, one of my favorite bands. Look them up. We thought we could change the world with the theater. We thought that if we did the right production of Hedda Gabler to the right 17 people in the right church basement, that we could just blow their minds and they would see the world in new ways and be emotionally ripped apart, and with the beautiful aesthetics of the production and the raw truth of the acting, their faces would melt in absolute glory. That's what we thought. And we would have these pretentious discussions. I remember one night we were having a really pretentious discussion late at night. And I remember one of us was, someone said to someone else in the group, and they said, would you ever do a commercial? And the other person was like, I might, if it was for soy milk. Those are the kind of discussions we had. We took ourselves very, very seriously. We would do things like one time we rented a church and brought over this Polish theater director woman who did not speak a word of English. And we locked ourselves in this church for a week. And we were just going to make theater. And in the church was some sheets and some oranges and a bowl of water, some bells, some drums, some tambourines, some ribbons. And we would just sit there and we would just see what happened. With this Polish woman who did not speak, I mean, not a word of English. She was there, and we were there. And then someone would, take a drum and go, and someone else would take a ribbon and go. Someone would take a tangerine or smell a flower. Someone would eat an orange. I don't know why the oranges were there, but I'm not exactly sure. But she, and we would just see what happens. And all of a sudden, dances would be created, or stories would be acted out, or experiences would be had between people. It was very, very trippy stuff. It was really like doing acid in the 60s. It was very, very bizarre, but very pretentious stuff. Because, truth be told, she came from the Herzig Grotowski, this great theater teacher and director, who wrote Towards a Poor Theater. And the idea was that theater in Europe was for so long for rich people, and it was like you'd have to pay hundreds of dollars for your seats, kind of like you have to do today, and the curtains would go and they'd act out these parlor comedies that were all very fakey and stuff for rich people. So they were trying to tear all that away to get to the truth of what the theater is, which is just humans and bodies with emotions and voices and movements just interacting with each other, just tearing it down to the basics. It was interesting stuff. So when I look back on it later, I realized my love for religious faith and my idea that we could change the world that we had in the Baha'i faith, because Baha'is really believe they can spiritually transform the world through love and unity and service to humanity, that this had just been changed into theater. So that messianic zeal that I had just shifted into the theater, and we thought we could change the world through the theater. When I look back on it later, I was able to kind of have that perspective. And you kind of need that to be an artist. I mean, no one becomes a great artist by going let's do a pretty good play, or let's write an okay song, or let's draw a nice pretty picture. Or a little poem, a pleasant little poem. No one does. You have to be a great artist, you have to strive for something more. You have to strive to break through with the art that you're making, to put a fist through a wall and show people the world, so they can see the world in a way that they've never seen it before. So in a way, it was pretentious, but the spirit was right, I believe. So what happened? Basically, fast forward. Here I was, I graduated from college, I was living the life that I had always dreamed. I was a professional actor. I was with my girlfriend, who's now my wife. We've been together for 25 years. Married for 20 in June. No. What do I get her? It's 20 years, what do you get? I already bought her a zonkey.
A zebra donkey.
Bought her a zonkey. His name is Derek. He lives in our backyard. He's half zebra, half donkey. I'm not kidding.
I believe it. Look how serious he is.
Hippopotamus? No. Cash? Maybe I'll sign her a book. Give her one of these waters.
Wow.
What were we talking about? Messianic changing the world through theater. Did I talk about that already? Art? Oh, there I was with my girlfriend, now wife. I was acting. My dream had come true. The nervous little pimply kid who had gone into Suzanne Adams' office and asked me, do you think I could ever potentially be an actor? There I was in my mid-20s, and I was an actor, and I was working with some of the greatest, most famous experimental theater directors and great theater directors that were out there doing really interesting work. Some of it really sucked, and some of it was really good. It's my theory on the theater. There is nothing worse in the world than bad theater. I mean, it's dentistry is better. It's the worst. And you know what it's like. And your friend drags you, come on, see this play my friend's in. It's gonna be fantastic, come on. And you go to the play and it's just, and you're like 5 minutes in and you're like, oh my God. So, do you wanna come on to the kitchen? Okay. It's just it's so bad. But when you see great theater, there really is nothing better. When you see just great theater, and that doesn't mean big splashy theater, it can be really small theater. Like you'll remember it for the rest of your life, and it's super, super great, even more than great films, I believe. So, here I was living my dream, Suzanne Adams, pimply kid. I was a professional actor. I had to work a lot of other jobs to make it going. We were pretty broke in New York City, just doing theater. I had a great group of bohemian friends and doing theater with them and with my girlfriend, and increasingly I found myself unhappy. And it was very strange because it didn't make any sense to me. I would wake up in the middle of the night. Sometimes maybe some of you have felt this. You just wake up and like, what's my purpose? What am I doing? You just that kind of a deep, disconnected, lonely feeling in the middle of the night. And I would have these feelings, and I was really scratching my head. I don't even think I told my holiday about them, but I was just really feeling lost. But it didn't make any sense because this is what I'd always wanted. I was living my dream. I was bohemian. I didn't have God or morality weighing me down. I had everything that I'd ever wanted. And this points to me, last year I did a talk about happiness at USC. You can find it if you Google it, and I might do another talk about happiness because I'm not a terribly happy person, but I have learned a few things about happiness and what doesn't make you happy versus where you can find some comfort in this life. And what I realize now is there is a myth that's in our culture, and it's insidious. And it's this idea that happiness is in the future. It's this idea that happiness is something you work for or you work toward. It's even in our national slogan. It's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Like that really, it really ticks me off. Because how do you pursue happiness? What does that mean? I think what they're really saying is like life, liberty, and the ability to pursue making lots of money or gathering lots of material things. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of gathering lots of material things because those things will make you happy. And that's complete BS on a number of different levels. The idea that happiness is something that is around the corner or over the bend or just somewhere up in the future that now I'm not really happy, but I'm going to pursue it and I'm going to eventually get there, it just doesn't work that way. Like a lot of you may have inherited that from your parents, perhaps, of, you're in school now, or be happy now while you're in school, because later you won't be, but once you've got to get a job, and then once you get married, once I get a job, I'll be happy. No, once I get married, I'll be happy. Once I have kids, I'll be happy. Once I make 150 grand a year. No, once I make 175 grand a year, then I'll be happy. Once I make $205,000 a year, then I'll be happy. If I get Matthew McConaughey's Lincoln, then I'll be happy. That there's these goals, these things that you strive for happiness, that it's not something that you have right here and now. And, just, I don't want to do a whole talk about it, but just really clear, happiness is a choice. Let's be really super clear about it. Happiness is a choice that you make. My wife and I work in Haiti a lot. There's a lot of really unhappy people in Haiti, but there's a lot of really joyous people who don't even own a chicken. And because it's a choice you make out of gratitude for what you have in the moment. Like, I'm alive, I'm taking a breath, here we are, we're having this experience, and I choose to be, through gratitude, the lens of gratitude, to experience joy, to experience contentment, which are better words, I think, than happiness, to experience joy, to experience contentment. So there I was, very unhappy, and it got me thinking, and I started thinking about religion and faith and God again, because I thought it felt very like something was missing, and I felt that maybe I was missing God in a way, and I thought maybe I had thrown the baby out with the bathwater. Maybe this whole just throwing all religion, morality, God, and all of that, so I could live a bohemian life. Maybe I had missed something here. Maybe there was something a little bit more in the world of spirituality, that just doing theater and trying to blow people's minds by doing obscure plays was not the answer. So I really started going on a spiritual quest at that point in time. And I started by asking all my friends about God. I started saying to them, literally polling them one by one, and I asked them, do you believe in God? And my friends would all say, they almost all had the exact same answer, which was, yeah, kind of. They would say, I definitely, I don't believe in a judgmental old man on a cloud with a beard who's kind of scowling down judgmentally and going, oh, you're not doing good enough, you're not doing good enough. I don't believe in that God. But I definitely have a feeling that there's some kind of creative force in the universe that's coursing through everything, and there's love there, and something. I kind of have a vague feeling that there is something like that. And it kept bugging me, because I was like, there can't kind of be a God. There really can't. It's kind of like being pregnant. You either are or you're not. kind of pregnant. There really are two scenarios as far as I see it. And correct me if I'm wrong. We'll have a little Q&A afterwards. But the two scenarios are, scenario A, there's a big, vast space, the universe, and then there was a little pinpoint stuff about 14 billion years ago, and it went like that, and time and space were created, and there's 134 elements that comprise everything, and we're all just made of these certain very limited number of elements, and they went like this, and there were all these galaxies, and then on this one galaxy where we are, there's this Earth, and then there were microbes, or aliens planted microbes in the water. No, I don't know, but we developed and we crawled up on land, and then we became lizards, and then we became chinchillas, and then we became monkeys, and ultimately we grew up and we had consciousness. We have consciousness of ourselves and of art and of God and creation and why are we here. But it's all just a random accidents. Like, you ever play that game, Pick Up Sticks? You like throw them down, you have to pick them up without moving them. It's like just like molecules, and then no one did that. It just happened, and then there's consciousness, and we can feel things, and we can ponder things, and we can connect, and we can love, but it's all an accident. It's all pure chance. For some reason, these molecules went in our brain in a weird way that gave us this kind of consciousness and gave us that stuff. Or option 2 is there's some kind of creative force in the universe that's behind it, that either threw all those pickup sticks down, or rolled the dice, or hit the big bang button, and it's behind everything, that it's no real accident that we develop consciousness, that there's some purpose behind these 80 years that we have on the planet, and that there's some meaning beyond just stuff. There's some meaning beyond just the physical world. So, and that this creator, this God, people can understand him in different ways, either through religious faiths or whatever, but he wants what's best for us, and that we have souls, really, I think, in this scenario, where, because over here, when you die, boom, that's it. Lights out, you're dead, that's end of journey, you're completely done. It's like a movie being over, boom. And over here, you die, there's probably another universe that you go to, or a different phase of existence that you go through. So those are really the two things. I don't see any kind of in-between. So I needed to find out for myself what was going on, and I took this very seriously. So I started reading all the religious books, and I read the Bible, and I read the Quran, and I read the Vedas and Upanishads of Hinduism and Bhagavad Gita. I read the writings of the Buddha and the Dhammapada, and started digging into these different religious faiths and what's going on. I went to some churches, I went to some meditation things and Buddhist meetings, and lots of different, we went to a Hare Krishna thing once, and just really like trying to dive in and explore like what, because that really to me is the question, like, is there a God or not? We talk about life's big questions we explore on Soul Pancake. One of the biggest ones, maybe the biggest one, is there a creator or is there not? We can't kind of believe in a creator. This really determines so much. So I was very stuck, though, on this God question until I started reading books about Native American spirituality. And I started reading about the concept of God from the Lakota Sioux, whose God is referred to as Wakantanka, the great mystery. I started reading about Wakantanka, and I was like, wow, I could really get with this Wakantanka. Because the name literally means the great mystery. It's the great father. It's a force that's not, it's not a human force. It runs through all of nature. That it runs beyond time and space. It's ultimately unknowable, this God, creative force, that it's in the air, it's in the leaves, in the trees, it's in the animals, that it is expressed in the 7 directions, north, south, east, west, up, down, and then the 7th direction, in, internal, into your heart. That this was Wakantanka. And as I was reading about it and studying it, I was like, see, this I can get with. This, I can understand Wakantanka. So I was talking to my friend Phil about Wakantanka, and he's a skeptical poet friend of mine, and we were watching a baseball game. I believe it was the Yankees, and Darryl Strawberry was up in the 9th inning, and the Yankees were down by a run, and Phil was like, well, if you believe in Wakantanka, why don't we pray to him right now and see if Darryl Strawberry can win the game. I was like, all right, what the hell? So I went to the doorway, and I was like, oh, Wakantanka. I don't know why I did the whole, this thing. Probably just seen Dances with Wolves or something. Oh, Wakantanka, oh, great mystery, spirit father that runs through all of the universe and courses through everything. If you exist, and if it, your will, show yourself to us. Allow Darryl Strawberry to hit a home run and allow that to happen. Oh, great Wakantanka, sir, or something like that. And so we turn around, we look at the TV, and I'm not kidding you, 1 second later, Darryl Strawberry hits a 2-run home run, and the Yankees win in the bottom of the 9th. And Phil and I